Hey, scrapbook friends, it's Nicole, and I am finally back with another album flip through for you. Several of you have asked me about this. It makes me feel really good to know that this is something that you enjoy. And just the truth is, I just have not been finishing albums. I've been doing tons of layouts. I got like probably 10 or 12 albums that are mostly done, but I'm waiting on titles or journaling or one layout to do. So your gentle reminders have really helped encourage and motivate me to get them done because I know that there are people actually who want to watch. So thank you for that. So this is my 2017 family album, volume 1. This is a 2-volume. My goal is to fit my family albums into 2 volumes. Someday maybe 1 volume. Right now I'm at 2 volumes for this year, and then I think I go to 3 and maybe 4 for the next years. But this particular album color, I can't remember the name of the color. It's like a seafoam green. We had an album with an anchor on the front, Maritime, and then they came out with, you could just get this plain album colors, and I love this color, but that was before they were doing spines. And so I ordered a custom spine just based on the pictures on the website, thinking it would be close enough. And it's close. It's in the same color family. I don't love the look of having a contrasting spine, but I don't hate it. So if they ever come out with, again, this kind of seafoam, I may replace the spine. But for now, I have a slightly contrasting spine. I can't remember the name of this color either. For this one and for volume 2, which I will also do a video of because they are done for you. So here we go. For this album, volume 1, I decided to do one of the shortcuts I've found that is helping me finish albums faster, and that is to use the same title, the same font for all the titles in the book. So the font that I chose is probably from dafont.com. I have no idea how you say that. Alijaniho Nugi Romantic. Probably from dafont.com. But then I found out when I got to volume 2 that I had already started doing some titles in volume 2. So I'm not completely consistent. Excuse me. Not completely consistent in these titles, but I don't think that anyone would notice if I hadn't mentioned it to you. All right, so here we go. So this is the title page, and you'll see in volume 2 that I did the same title page kind of idea. I really like this. I wanted to do something with squares, wanted to do something with dimension, and so I just cut these squares. I think the name of this paper pack, oh boy, I've forgotten the name of this paper pack. This was like an advisor exclusive, but these are the front and back of the same square. So I cut the squares and folded them and then put some foam squares just to give them some dimension. All right. And I think it turned out really fun. It was a way to show both sides of the paper, just have some geometric, I don't usually have a picture to put on the front, but I like them to tie together. And then I did the old little doodling trick. This is way kind of 1990s scrapbooking, but I still love the way it can fill in empty space and just give some dimension. So that's our title page. You'll see it again in volume 2. So here we have some photos from my crop club retreat, and let's see if I can get this light not to, well, I can get the light not to reflect, but I don't know if that gives enough light, so we'll see. Crop club retreat, this was from, oh my goodness, Fresh Picks maybe, and one of the things I did on this layout that I haven't done in a long time, or I don't often do anymore, is I rounded not only all the corners of all the photos, but I also rounded the corners of all these little background pieces. And so basically I just have, I think these are 5 by 10 pieces of 4 different printed papers from the pack and then a stripe around the front. And when I got them down, the paper kind of blended into the white background. So I went ahead and I traced around all the squares with a pen. And I think that it was made it really fun, kind of made it pop. And of course, so with my journaling, I also did a little bit of a line around the square. Okay, we're not quite fitting on here. Sorry, I thought I had everything all situated so we could see the whole book. All right, so this is my crop club retreat. This is a group of girls that used to scrapbook with me when I lived in North Carolina, and then I moved to Alabama, and they started coming down once a year, and we were just having a little weekend together at my house. So we did matching shirts a few times, same basic layout. The shirts are kind of purple. I thought that they were more purple and close to this. Now on the camera, they look really blue, but it doesn't look quite as blue contrasty as it does on the camera. But it's that same layout with the 4 5x12 pieces from Fresh Picks and then a contrasting stripe. And I went ahead and did the lines around it. As I'm looking at it, I realized that I don't think I put people's names. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to journal everybody's names. Even though I remember them, they come every year. It would be nice to have that. So this is a fun thing. My last name is So. My husband's grandfather's Korean. That's where it came from. And for some reason, the Army is using SOH, and I'm not exactly sure what it stands for, Support Our Heroes or something like that. And they have this big flag hanging up at the medical clinic. So every time we go, we have to take a picture with the banner. And yes, I have tried to figure out how I can get one of those, but I haven't managed it. So if you know anybody with a connection in the Army Medical Corps or something that can get me one of these So flags, I would love it. This super simple page, I just kind of went with the flag kind of as my inspiration. I wanted to bring in the star. So I used the Star Border Maker cartridges. One are really old Border Maker cartridges. Excuse me. Black background, and just mounted the star on some white paper so it looked like white stars. And it's only 3 pictures, which is not something I often do for a double page layout, but I wanted to, and it was fun. All right, this one, a little bit busy. This was an event that I did with Diane Lampert, who is from the Creative Memories home office. I kind of tell the whole story of her contacting me and inviting me to do an advisor event. Those of you who know what my Creative Memories business is like now, this is where it started, with Diane saying, hey, I want to come do an event. I had to find a venue, and then I was reminded how much I love doing events with lots of people, and it just kind of started me on my path. So I really link a lot of my business success. I definitely link my ability to go on Facebook and on YouTube to Diane and some of her coaching. But so most of my Creative Memories events, I am not putting in my family scrapbooks anymore. But this one I felt like needed to be in there because it marked a big milestone in my life and some changes. At this event, Diane taught us how to do a project recipe for the first time. I had never done one before until February of 2017. And it was with the Mi Amor paper pack, which is what I then used on this layout just to kind of tie that in together, even though it doesn't actually match any of my photos. So this is a fun one. My husband took a friend to go caving, not something that he's really used to doing. I wanted to kind of mimic like stalactites or something. So I just kind of cut these randomly with scissors to make little stalactites and hang down. So it's super simple page, just a solid background and a brown stalactite coming down. It almost looks like mountains going up though. So I don't know, just pretend they're stalactites. This is one when we were just getting the recipe templates. I think this was Simple Symmetry. And I wanted to, I was playing with those a lot. Hopefully you've seen my templates video. That was my very first YouTube video. So the production quality is a little raw, but I do love the recipe templates, especially for something like this when you want to get a lot of pictures on a page. It was they did a magical dinner and kind of had this royal theme, and so I took my color choices from the colors that they had on their stage, and yeah, just kind of put it all together, and then had some little musical stickers, not from CM, that I used, but mostly all the rest is just cardstock. So we had some issues with the foundation on our house to the tune of, $35,000. And I took some pictures of the process just because it was a big deal. And well, the whole time this was happening, I had the hymn, How Firm a Foundation, like playing in my head. And so of course I had to use that for my title, and then some brick paper kind of to go with our brick. And it was definitely it's definitely an adventure. And yeah, I wish no foundation issues ever on anyone I ever know or don't know. So our foundation happened the week before we were going to Disney. We actually had to postpone our departure by a day because they weren't done. This layout is directly copied from the CM blog. I will try to link to this layout in the comments of this video. If I forget, somebody can remind me and I can add it to the comments. But it's just a fun, very Disney kind of theme. I think this was Magic Awaits. You know, they've had several collections that kind of have the same color scheme that are very not specifically marketed to be any brand of theme park, but works so well for a specific brand of theme park. Is what a happy coincidence. So I do love this one. I always do a full album or sometimes two for our Disney trips, but I like to put one double page spread in my family album just chronologically as those things happen. So meanwhile, my older daughter was living in California with my brother while she was going to school, and she would occasionally send me pictures, and I want to keep her in our family scrapbook even though she doesn't live at home anymore. So I just had this is more of that fresh pics, I think, and I just put these 3 pictures, journaled a little bit about her, what she was up to in there. This layout, I believe I have a video about how to do this triangle fold layout. I love this one. This paper was from Wicked Cute, which is a Halloween paper pack, but with the little blue polka dots and stripes. It's totally not Halloweeny, and you throw this hot pink on there. It matched my daughter's shirt, and then I just put the pictures just wherever. I didn't feel like I needed to fit them into the triangles or anything like that. And it's just a funny story that we were at dinner at Panda Express and got this text message that because of bad weather, they were canceling school for the next day. And this is my daughter's reaction. I think the fortune says Wednesday is your lucky day, and she was supposed to get to use the 3D printer on Wednesday, and then they canceled school, so she was a little bit disappointed. And I just had one picture, well, I guess 2 pictures, and I don't often do single page layouts, but I'm finding that more and more, because I take pictures on my phone and I end up with one picture of not necessarily an event, but just a fun memory, I'm doing more single page layouts. And I think you'll start to see that, you know, as I go through the years of my albums. This one, my son works at Kroger, and just mysteriously every year when the Easter Bunny shows up to greet guests, Alex is nowhere to be found. And so I always make a point to stop and take a picture with the Easter Bunny, even though he's not really the cutest Easter Bunny I've ever seen, kind of a creepy version of the Easter Bunny, but you know, you do what you got to do. And I have tons of these flowers. I think these might be from Botanical Burst. They might be from Blend and Bloom. I don't know. Apparently the Creative Memories Japan advisors are always asking for more flower stickers and embellishments, and the US advisors are always saying, enough with the flowers. But I don't use them a lot. I'm not really a flowery kind of person, but I thought it was fun with this kind of Easter picture, and I used a lot of them. And some little bling, because, you know, who doesn't like bling? So this is some pictures of my daughter going to dance at our church, and I used the Woodland Whimsy because we took pictures of her outside on our front walkway. And that was fun to use Woodland Whimsy, which was kind of a baby girl collection. And then I talked about how this dress that she's wearing actually is a dress I had worn for a military formal a few years ago. I am considerably larger than my daughter, and so my friend did some major alterations to make it work so that we didn't have to buy another dress for her. So then we got Easter. I don't love this page. As I was going through this book to get it ready for you, I was reminded how much I don't necessarily love this page. I went and I did the little swirlies again like I did on the title page, just trying to fill it in. I had this paper and I wanted to use this paper. Anyway, not sure that I love the colors of this. Kind of Eastery, almost done with Easter. I mean, she was a junior in high school at this point, and so I don't have too many more Easters to do, but been trying to use up my stash. A lot of my old like Nazium papers. I have, so many old papers. And so I'm trying to use up a lot of those. And that's what this was. And, I don't love it, but it kind of tells the story. What such story as there is, that the kids are mostly grown, but they still get Easter baskets. So I don't know if you guys remember, but a few years ago, Starbucks did this unicorn frappuccino thing. And I have kind of a thing for unicorns. My Creative Memories team is Team Unicorn. I'm in another Facebook group that our mascot is the unicorn. And so I was super excited to go get this frappuccino. And then for whatever reason, the internet decided to hate it. And I posted this picture of myself in the morning with my frappuccino, the first and probably last frappuccino of my life, because then I probably had, I kid you not, at least 30 people messaging me articles about how many calories are in this, how bad it is for you, all the artificial colors. People were sending me pictures of, toilets filled with glitter. And it was like one of the worst days of my life. Except it started out super fun, and I still love this picture. And it's just a funny story and reminder of how awful the internet can be. But now that it's over and I'm over the emotions of it, I still really like the picture and I like the story, and it's fun to remember. So the next one is just about a picture of the sushi boat. I don't like sushi. My husband does very much. And so I talked about how when I was at a scrapbook retreat, he went with his friends about an hour away to this place that did this sushi boat. And he had taken this picture to send it to me. And it was pretty impressive. So again, I've got some single page layouts right here. One picture on each. I did enlarge them to 5x7. But, there aren't really rules in scrapbooking. I have actually done, well, I don't know if I've ever done a layout with no pictures and only journaling, but I've done several that have one picture and mostly journaling. So you can do what you need to do. If you have a story to tell and you don't have a picture, that is okay. I will not tell you have to have a certain number of photos or anything like that. So this one doesn't really have any journaling. It doesn't really have any titles. I had a piece of pattern paper that had all these little cat sayings and all these random pictures of my cats. And so I put them on. I thought, I should journal about this. These are my cats. They are funny. We love them. They are cats. And so I didn't do a title. I didn't do journaling. I'm letting the pictures tell the story, and hopefully everyone can tell these are my cats. My daughter's thing in high school was choir. And so we have lots and lots of pictures that look the same because every choir concert pretty much looked the same. But they're fun to scrapbook. It's fun to use this musical stuff. Again, a lot of stuff I bought over the years. She's been in choir since she was in the 3rd grade. And so I had a lot of musical stuff, wanting to use it up. And I love kind of how the black and white went with this and these big puffy embellishments. Although this one, it's not very old and I'm already starting to see it discolor a little bit. So you kind of got to be careful with some of this epoxy stuff that isn't necessarily archival and photo safe, but I used it anyway, and hopefully it won't, once this gets a page protector on it, it's not going to be touching any of my photos. So just anytime you have something that you're not sure about, keep it away from your photos. And if you're using the Creative Memories album pages, they go through a process called buffering, which will help anything that's acidic, will keep it from migrating to other parts of your layout. So you can kind of get away with, using some things which are not necessarily photo safe. Photos themselves are not necessarily always photo safe. They can be a little bit acidic just because of the photo processing, although most of us don't have, wet process photos anymore. But anyway, I'm not 100% sure on the science of that, but that's what I've been told, that photos are not always acid-free. So this layout, I love this layout. And all the journaling says is, Mom, do we have any more powdered sugar? Michelle, I don't know. Let me check. And she went to the pantry and I had like 8 bags, 2-pound bags of powdered sugar. And it was just one of those funny moments. I am terrible about shopping with a grocery list. And so my brain will say, hey, we need powdered sugar, and I'll buy some more. And then we end up with this. I don't know that I've bought powdered sugar again since 2017, but it was sure fun to be able to do this picture again with just a whole bunch of stickers. I love this look of, filling in a shape with stickers. And then I did a few little dots to kind of continue to fill that in. And I just did a little dashed line around the heart. And I think it's really fun, a really fun look. Next layout is, oops, this little guy keeps jumping off. I think maybe he's not going to get to stay. This next layout is my husband's cousin, and a cousin he didn't know he had, and how we met her. Again, just a couple pictures and quite a bit of journaling. And then the next page is about these same cousins and kind of the story of how we found them. This project recipe was actually, this was a project recipe, and it was actually one of the Australia paper packs. I don't think it was Walkabout. It was one of the ones before that I had made the project recipe with my customers in a project recipe class. Thought, what will I ever use Australia paper for? But it worked really well for these cemetery pictures and these cousin pictures. And you'll notice I did not use, like, this is a photo mat right here, this is a photo mat right here, and this is a photo mat. And I didn't just put a picture in the photo mat. I made it work. I just kind of used the photo mats as background. Same with right here where we had the two little mats. I just put my pictures where I needed them, and I think it looks really nice. I'm really happy with how I was able to use a project recipe that I had already made and just put my pictures on. And that's a super fast way to get scrapbooking done, is if the project recipe exists and you can make your pictures fit. So my older daughter was going to school out in California, and we went to her graduation in Berkeley, and then we stayed with my brother and his family, and we toured around San Francisco. And I have a whole album about her graduation and our trip, my Hamilton tickets and all that. But like I said, I always like to put a double page layout of trips that we take in the family album, just to keep the chronology of that. So some of you who have seen my some of my crop photos, Halloween photos, my husband made this awesome Maui hook. He carved it out of wood and then drew all the little artwork on there. Anyway, I'm pretty proud of it. And these are stamps that I colored in. I think I was doing a lot of stamping a couple of years ago. Kindred stamps, maybe? I can't remember, but I was super happy to get these. And I just stamped and colored them in, played with my Copic markers, and made the little volcano for him to stand on so I could showcase this. And this hook actually now hangs in our living room above our family photos because it's that awesome. This is one of the recipe templates again. And the year of 2017, they had a graduation kit, and it had the number 2017 all over it. And it wasn't probably the best selling graduation kit we've ever had, because not everybody is working on 2017 graduations in 2017. But thankfully, my daughter graduated with her master's, and my other daughter's best friend graduated from high school. And I have this cute picture of them. Samantha graduated and Michelle sang in the choir. So she was at graduation, and Sammy's mom took this picture. And I think it turned out really cute with this, what's it called? Frame It Up. I used to be better, you guys, at remembering stuff like that, but with this old retired recipe template. So, I do live just outside of Huntsville, Alabama, the Rocket City, and we had my husband's work party at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. And so I have the Saturn V and some space things, and I love to do space-themed layouts. This is before we had the Out of This World collection. As I get to future albums, you're going to see the Out of This World collection a lot. But for this one, I wanted to do something spacey, so I cut this giant moon. It was kind of tricky. I just put my elbow on the paper and put two pieces of paper together and used my elbow as a pivot point to draw that circle. And then I had to kind of clean it up, and then I cut circles out of the moon and put it over this cratered blue paper that we have that had the texture in it from a cardstock buffet a few years ago. And then I was able to use some of these little astronaut stickers and things that I've gathered over the years. Again, trying to use my stash. I have all these cute papers and I want to use them. And I find that Creative Memories papers are so pretty right now that I'm not going through my stash of old stuff as much as I used to when, A, we didn't have new products every month, but B, they didn't seem to match some of my themes. So this is kind of a combination of some CM papers and some not CM papers and stickers, and just at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, which is like 10 minutes from my house. So if you ever come to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, or you bring your kid to Space Camp, let me know. We can scrapbook together. We're there at Space Camp. So here is a concert that I sing in. I journaled about it. I made a pocket right here to keep the program. I like to do that when I can. And it's just, there's a couple pieces of cardstock back under here so that, you know, you can slide this out. Once I get my page protectors on, I use the Creative Memories page protectors. These are the regular refill pages, so they seal at the top and bottom, so the side will be open. So if down the line I want to pull it out and say, hey, what songs did we sing for the Celebrate America concert in, you know, 2017, I can pull up the thing and see, you know, who the narrators were and, you know, who our visitors were. So I like to keep memorabilia in my scrapbooks as well as pictures. And this paper was from a patriotic kit that Creative Memories had, and it like sold out in a flash. I don't remember the name of it, but like it was one of the first ones that sold out in like 2 weeks. And I've been really sad because I liked this one a lot, and I had to be very frugal about how I use the paper. So this one is probably based on a sketch I saw on Pinterest. It's for a play that we went to go see up in Nashville. You know, you can't take pictures inside shows, but I wanted to scrapbook it, and I wanted to do double page layout. I had the front of the program, so I cut the program off and put that here. Picture of the stage, one of our tickets, and then we took pictures with the sign. And then I had these, I think these are Jolie's boutique stickers, but I think it turned out really fun with the circles. And this is before we had the new circle punch from CM, so I had to cut these all out with the custom cutting system. That was kind of a pain. I wish I would have known to wait, because I think these circles are the exact same size of that new circle punch from Creative Memories. So yet another Disney layout. I wrote on here, does it seem like Michelle and Nicole find lots of good excuses to go to Disney? That's the only journaling on this. There is whole another album from this Disney trip, but I just put a few highlights because I love to do just like a generic Disney layout, and I don't often do those in my Disney books because they don't match. Like if I'm doing an ice cream layout, I do ice cream, and if I'm doing a Buzz Lightyear layout, I do Buzz Lightyear. So this was just fun, and I'm 99% sure I saw this idea on Pinterest. I get a lot of my ideas from Pinterest. So here again, we have a couple of single page layouts. My daughter's first day of school, it's her first day of her senior year. I did go back and put her kindergarten first day of school picture on here because I just thought that was fun to have those together. And then mine and my husband's wedding anniversary. For whatever reason, this is the one time of year we're really good to get a picture together. And so almost every year I'm able to put our wedding anniversary picture in here. This paper was an quarterly exclusive paper pack from Creative Memories. Again, I've lost the name completely, but it had the metallic in it. And I had originally started with putting the metallic floral paper behind and then putting this stripe over the top. And it was just too much. It was just too many flowers. I told you guys I'm not really flowery. It was super busy. It clashed with this other layout. I want there to be contrast, so you know looking at this that these are two separate events. It was too much. So instead, I ended up cutting out just a couple of corners and leaving the rest white. And I think that really allowed me to use this otherwise busy paper without it being hard on the eyes. So, you know, I talk about that sometimes, which paper is like, don't use this for a background. If you love a paper and you want to use some of it for a background, something like this can really work. So this was the Slice of Summer paper. I loved this paper pack. I loved the bright colors. I didn't have a lot of things to use with it, but one day my daughter came down wearing the same shirt I was wearing, and we took a selfie, and it's such a cute picture of us. This layout, I think, is also from the CM blog, almost exactly copied, just exactly, except for they put 2 pictures and I put 1. This one, my sister and her family were driving through on their way to take their daughter to college. I have 1 picture and not a lot to journal because that's the story. They were driving through to take their daughter to college. So I blew it up to an 8x10. This was, goodness sakes, I can't remember the names of anything, you guys. I'm so sorry, but I love this architecture-y drawing paper. And then the medallion punch, I put on a couple little pop dots just for some dimension out of bronze shimmer. And then we have the solar eclipse. This is pretty much close to the end of this album, solar eclipse. We have the sun border maker punch. And I just journaled a tiny bit about that we were going to drive. I could have driven to Nashville, about 90 miles away, and seen 100%. But we were worried about the weather and didn't want to drive all that way for clouds. And in fact, they did have more clouds in Nashville than we had down here in Huntsville. And instead, I said to my friend who has a swimming pool, hey, wouldn't it be nice to watch the eclipse from your pool? So that's what we did. Thank you, friend with a pool, for letting us watch the solar eclipse. I printed out a few things from the internet, some memes. This is for my choir friends. Totally not worried about any of my choir members damaging their eyes today. They never look up, so that was funny. One of my first uses of a peekaboo pocket. And then this one I had posted on Facebook, and I just screenshot it and printed it out, that Michelle's school has 1,700 students. 1,200 of them are absent today. I thought that was a pretty neat statistic about the solar eclipse. And I put my glasses in here. So if there's another eclipse, I can pull these out. I put them in little photo corners so that they are removable if I need them to be, but probably I'll forget and buy new glasses for the next eclipse. And we are going to drive next time to get the 100% totality, clouds or no clouds. So the last two layouts in this book are about a ukulele that my husband built. It probably deserves more journaling, and maybe it needs an 8x8 album to talk about the process of how he decided that he wanted to build a ukulele. And he does play the ukulele. We own several. You guys maybe have seen our Mele Kalikimaka video from last year where he's playing the ukulele. But I took some pictures of the process, had him take some pictures of the process of him building this ukulele. This is kind of his logo. And then on the last page, it shows the finished product, which is just absolutely so beautiful. Really, really needs to be in our scrapbook that he built this. You know, started with a pile of wood and a couple YouTube videos and a pencil, and several $100s of power tools later, he has this beautiful ukulele that he built, and now he's built several. And I did write on here that that there is a long list of people who've asked him to build ukuleles for them, and unfortunately, that whole pesky full-time job thing is keeping him from being able to do that. So I think this was about August of 2017, and then the second half of my album is in another book, and I will show that in a separate video. But I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I hope you got some ideas, and I will try to remember to post links to the layouts that I got from the CM blog in the comments, so that if you want to find those layouts and duplicate them, you'll have the directions right there. All right, stay tuned in a day or two for volume 2 of my 2017 family scrapbook. And thanks a lot, and happy scrapbooking.